All right, let's see how we fare this time. It's me, Suze. I got shut down like an Eclipse clown. First time out. I'll try to behave. First question is, what can I talk about? Can I talk about the magic stone? The meteorite? I mean, I know I should. Hey, this is where I got in trouble earlier. I won't say a word. There was nothing there. And this is no big deal. Are you kidding? You make these in 3D printers. And of course, I'm the girl with all the gossip and the direct line to the supernatural Suze Pratt. Plus, I'm a hair colorist. I'm just a girl that wants to work. We're supposed to be doing business here online. What's going on with people? Hey, did I mention that scarab manifested in 2007? I mean, what a fascinating subject. Oh, wait. Somebody might want to steal it like in Temple of Doom. I know. I should hide it away. I had a new friend the other day suggest that I take down a video so nobody would come and get me, and I said, sweetheart, it is way too late for that. But bless your heart for thinking about me. That's really sweet. Okay, so what are we going to dish about tonight? Oh my gosh. So let's just start out by saying that I did not do that thing commonly known as sleeping until 6 in the morning. And of course, a couple hours later, Joe's getting up and saying, hey, I know you turned the TV off last night, but it's on, and an Elvis movie is playing. And I said, that figures. So, since the last time I talked to y'all, first, and I know I should know this, I've written it down. Isn't that funny when you're so involved in Blue Hawaii? Oh my gosh, how many points do I get off? I mean, how much trouble do I... It's okay. We got something. Don't worry. I'm getting out of jail free. And look at this, the 8th annual Tweed Elvis Festival. What the hell is this? August 24th, 25th, 26th, 2018. Nobody invited me. And
Hey, Colonel, time to rehearse for the Tweed Elvis Festival. What's up, Tweed? Oh, yeah. Hit it!
okay. So, of course, we're going to fuse in the song here. I'm going to read Red Dress, Dark Hair. This is Yvonne Craig, Batgirl. I got the magic pointer right here. See her? Batgirl was smoking, huh? Now, this is Kissing Cousins, and there's a lot of controversy. Pamela Austin, Blue Hawaii. Uh-oh, I'm in the way. Shit, I always do that, number one. All right. Light blue uniform, blonde bombshell, tweed special guest, Cynthia Pepper. She winds up at this shindig that they didn't invite me to over the summer. And I promise you, this is not the body of the man that you think is Elvis. Still Terry Garr in the blue dress. Look over here. She's in a little, like Mary Ann dress. Jack Albertson, Cynthia and Elvis, you guys are moving way too fast, you bunch of wild men. Look at the difference in the legs, the butt. This guy's legs are longer. It says Elvis and not Elvis, not Elvis and Elvis. They're trying to tell you guys this is one guy, and I'm telling you it is not. They weren't doing biometrics yet either. They could do Photoshop, but this whole thing's been redone. I keep trying to tell people I saw this a year and a half ago. Arthur O'Connell played Pop in Follow That Dream. We love him, but he's awful fuzzy. Can you prove to me that's Pop? Lance Scarlett was Elvis Stanton. He went on to co-star in the A-Team. No wonder you guys got itchy butts. I hear all this talk about pineapples. Elvis and Cynthia, and Yvonne and Elvis. Kissing cousins. I'm supposed to be these guys' cousin or something. Hollywood comes to Tweed August. I told you, come have some fun. You deserve it. Well, I mean, that's just downright ornery. Especially when I'm supposed to be some kind of scribe. Cynthia Pepper from her TV show Margie. Cynthia and Elvis from Kissin' Cousins. Which Elvis? Cynthia Pepper, Pigtails, Presley and Pepper, a Hollywood memoir. And that's her new book, and there she is. Photo by Susan Hansen. What's your thoughts on Dave Chappelle's Then If You Can See Anomalies with Elvis? We'll talk about that. Thank you. You'll have to kind of hit me a little to the story. Give me 2 seconds. Wait a second. And I can do a certain amount myself. I am, unfortunately, a big girl in this crazy-ass world. So let's search about David Chappelle first. Now, I will tell you this. We're not supposed to be talking about Seagal. So I think it's good that whoever brought the question up about, we go to Dave and I vibe out what the hell you're talking about that has to do with Elvis. Okay. Give me a minute. This interview made Dave Chappelle a marked man. Okay, so I'm going to assume what you would be talking about is the gossip on the streets that Dave Chappelle is no longer the real Dave Chappelle that we knew. And I guess we're relating that to the trauma that all y'all are experiencing with this crazy Elvis story. Mind control is a really serious thing. And I think it's really tough on people when they separate their personal lives from their professional lives. And it was taught to everyone to do. So I think dependent on the individual, if they can fragment them out, it's easier to suck them in. There's so many people that now I really get why they did fake their deaths or why they were never real people to begin with. I hope that answers your question and brings some light to it. That's a really good one. But, the whole Elvis thing, what we're talking about is a legal definition called hagiography. And, recently when Margaret Thatcher croaked, it was illegal in the UK to speak ill of her. Like, they'd take you to jail. Well, this legal term, hagiography, was originally something that was set in place for on the day of a wake or a funeral, and it was a public event, that you wouldn't go in there and say, hey man, this dude was a jackass. You respected that time. And then since we really don't have any rights, and the Queen is this whole fucked up story, it's like the Wicked Witch in the Never-Ending Story, she gets to do whatever the fuck she wants. Now in the meantime, everybody knows the gig's up, and there's a massive, forward on. So, let me say this. Because we know that everything's been manipulated. But at the same time, we know that this vibration or frequency of truth and honor and liberty and justice and all the things that humanity will experience, that frequency trumps the bullshit AI. And that's what it is because it's all a program. And so this was back on day 3, and all 3 of these videos have really been over 3 hours long. The first one, we had the weird anomaly happen. And I have to be so careful because if all the men did not tell me today to be very careful what I said, because sometimes I say too much over and over and over. And I have to say before I bring this, there's somebody out there that wants us to hear him tonight. And so it's Thor News. And Thor News is my trusted weather dude. Well, little did I know. Let's see, a word invented to protect someone and awake. Etymology is fascinating word. Alchemy. Hang on. Oh man, I'm seeing things. Dag. Zeb. So much interesting conversation. Dadgummit. Let me come back into track and I'll learn. Because, you know, you guys, I mean, I really do care about talking to people. And then all of a sudden now, people are getting it. So I'm honored and, you know, I'm going to do the best I can. But, I've already seen a bunch of shit slide by. But let me tell you about this real quick and then we'll jump back to that. So what this said is we only call something AI when it's new. And this is a video called AI and the Super Future. And it's AI keynote speaker Jeremy Gutsche. And that's at Future Festival. And I was writing a little sloppy and in the dark. It may be Frank Hunter or it could be Mark, and we can search for that as well. Kind of like what we did with Chappelle, right? So, this video, here's what they said, and I wrote it down. Hang on. I wrote it down exact, like you can see. And so, we have 5 categories. News feeds, driving routes, romantic hookups, online searches, and friend feeds. So, for anybody that's been checking out what I have to say, like you know, Facebook started out to be some crazy ass video game format to kind of, I think of it like a pinball game, and now we have it as the new outlet for TAVI, you know, so on and so forth. And the whole thing about YouTube that you got to fucking crack up about is that it was originally a dating website. And you say, how stupid is that, you know? But I can see why the men like Thor are skeptical about a girl like me, and I can see why a lot of people don't. They can't believe whatever it is that they're dealing with in their own experience, and then now we're having these two-way video conversations, and it's a lot of fun. And it's a certain amount of energy, and Thor wants to be king of the whole wide world tonight. So I want you guys to check out Thor News, and he is a Scorpio, and he is single. So if there's any women out there that would like a guy that plays rock band and behind the scenes is involved with all y'all marry men, then go talk to him. He's a grown-ass man, over 40 years old, and if you check him out, you might think he likes Taylor Swift. That's one of those coded messages, and you ask him about it. I don't know. But he let me know for the first time tonight that he was a little skeptical of me at first and that he's sorry. And I'm a Pisces and he's a Scorpio. And if we're going to play all these games, then what you got to dig about this is that all this crap that was too heavy for you guys to hear about my life is what saved me from that world of delusion and illusion and being a fake fuck and having these different alter ego lives. And it's why I didn't really, even though I fully realized who I am and what I do, I mean, it wouldn't have mattered if I was in my 20s when I was running with Mama Lil, or in my 30s when I was being normal and, running a hair shop and having cool parties, or in my 40s working 7 days a week and dealing with heavy shit. But, man, I'm telling you, when I brought those Rudolf Steiner books home, and, I knew as I was reading those books that it was going to start this all up again. So if you consider that it was best for me to put it down when I was young, because I had no business messing with esoteric matters as a young woman running a business or having children. It wasn't in the cards. And, I think for all of us in our lifetimes, no matter how old we are, that there's seasons for everything. Now, I was talking to my son before he left for the weekend about this idea, and we talk about it a lot here, of the idea of free will when you live in some kind of holographic matrix, halfway decent nightmare if you're really lucky, to say the least. Well, they say there's really no free will, and I am a perfect example of this statement in my mind. Because as a Pisces and as someone that's had so much trauma and so many supernatural, unexplainable events that targeted me, see, I could either, go with the flow, and in doing that, yeah, I got hit by some rapids and fucking boulders in the river and leeches and all sorts of nonsense. It reminds me of growing up on the Burbus River at my Aunt Edna's house. But if you, go upstream and swim against the current, which I did too. See, I did both because Pisces does this shit, But if you do that and you refuse to accept who you truly are and you don't work out your false ego, all that extra energy that is sucked out of you, whether it's being in a box or taking somebody's shit or having to separate your personal and your business or not being able to be honest about who you really are because somebody's going to get pissed and it's going to get ugly. And I know. But it's all about, in the end, realizing that we have been beat to fuck. And this is the one and only opportunity that we have been given to do this magical mystery tour. Whatever your role is that you play, whatever you're into, no judgment whatsoever. All of the other times and all the other dimensions and all the other fucked up stories, you have to look at a timeline of events once you see it this way. then you have to realize it goes fucking this way too. And that's why I think everybody should quit arguing about flat earth versus round earth. And Joe put it simply today, and I'm not good with geography, but you take a big mountain range like the Alps, and if you're on one side of it, as you're skiing and exploring, well, that's your language. But if you're on the other side, weird enough, it's a whole different language and a whole different culture, and the mountains separates the people. Well, anyhow, if this really is a grid, which they're saying it is, you can see where all those different dimensions would be, and there's more invisible than there is visible. But they're all mashing together right now. And one of the videos that we'll go over tonight was where they're really taking a lot of time to explain this harp thing. And I've been involved in squawking about that and trying to bring light to it, and I've said some powerful statements about it. Let's say, what if, because I got to be really careful. What if there was none of them nuclear, you know, that everybody thinks that there is because it's like all the money, right? And we know that this is some kind of a, I almost want to call it like an organic reset. It'd be like the Akasha flushing the toilet of the shit that got overlaid on what we should have been able to be experienced. And I mean, I don't know why Mother Nature does what she does. And I know that these ley lines have been manipulated, and I know that if you go back to the earliest of times and you think this is a church that's however old you want to say it is, well, now this mud fossil stuff is telling you, man, look again. These were energy centers. Every place across the globe had them. So, could it be that when they sabotaged, when the church took control and they sabotaged these energy centers, could that be why Gaia got in a fight with what's the representation of the divine creator? I mean, do you think it could have made such a big fucking fight between the male side of God and the female side of God? Maybe. But this is all very real. And that's all I know. So here's what I want to do, because I'm really glad that somebody has interest and is asking questions. Let's put something on, because I don't like quiet, noise, dead air, space. I have issues with that. What I did do is I pulled up a video that I thought maybe somebody would enjoy tonight, and it's a Healed Owl release, and this was at the Crystal Festival back a few years ago. And I'll tell you what, we talk about all this psyop and co-op shit. The saddest day to me was when this really organic movement got taken over by commercialism. And that was 3 years ago. We worked one festival and it was changing hands at that time, and then ever since it's just story after story. But there's still, there's still good people there. But this is why we got to be so careful about talking about the New Age movement. That is such a blaspheme, man. We're talking about old world ways. It's kind of like saying that the people were cavemen 500 years ago and didn't know how to wipe their ass. But I can show you a video, which I will do. It's really cool footage, and they just premiered it. I took pictures so I wouldn't be stepping on people's toes. People are doing such incredible work. This film footage was taken 4 days before the great San Francisco earthquake. The reason why the negatives weren't destroyed is because the gentleman that took the footage had went on a business meeting to New York, and so he had his, to me, that's as important as me taking a pair of scissors if I travel. Do you see what I mean? If I've taken key images or anything special, it would be on me. So he took this stuff with him, and it was put in a vault there. And that's a great story, and I've talked about the vaults. But I do have to mention tonight, too, I'm definitely in an extended state of something. That's all I can say. There's some really cool people. Guess that won't blow up anymore. Let me check out what the live chat was saying. Hang on, let me get up here balanced. Oh, wow, it's so nice. Okay, so Fifth World first up. Man, I'm telling you, girl, this is what I was trying to do when I got shut down. Go back, check out the intro that I did. I saw my phone go in and out. I'm talking about it went dim. I lost my screen. I acknowledged it. You'll hear the whole witness. And then I had to re-enter my passcode. It brought the live stream back up like nothing happened, but you will see the glitch. You'll notice. What I'm showing you specifically, Fifth World, is the visitors that came to the big yellow house. They look just like your orb that you were showing tonight. So, yeah, so you will see it. You'll immediately know. And what I was told is to think of them as mini data collection ships that were sent by the mothership to check stuff out here. And that was back in 2015. It suits the timeline. It makes sense. There's a large one and there's a little baby one next to it. It's really cute. And it reminded me of your stuff. Yes. Confirmation of spirit and everything. It makes me think of you every time. And then I feel like I should have already gotten you these images. You know, I didn't know anything about the computer. And then when you have your computer hacked and it's really full and, you're working with the team, it falls to the wayside. But if you come be my friend on Susie Pratt on Facebook, all those pictures, good, are available there. They were made public years ago. And I know things happen, but everybody knows who first put the image out. It's okay, and I don't want anybody to freak out. It's just good to realize that I opened up a good can of whoop ass. It's Suze B. Pratt, Pratt, on Facebook. Pratt's my ex-husband's name, and yes, Pratt means trickster. I found that out from the European side of this mystery. And, I used to be so embarrassed to glasscock, and you can imagine why. But to find out it's one of the original Highlander clans, the Gloss family. And so, more and more everything makes sense, and I'm at peace with it. But I would say it was a rocky start. Okay, let's look at some other things. Let me see what's going on. Okay. Zap says, hi, I saw your show recently on that CW guy. I used to watch his stuff a few years back, but I personally found him, obviously, you're a big Elvis fan. um, you know what? CW and myself, synchronistically enough, began YouTube at the same time. And when you know what I know behind the scenes, and then you realize it's nothing more than a game. And the Green Knight says you have to play the game, and you have to play the game to win. YouTube and Google is a different game from Facebook, but with what you'll come to find out, you'll I think it'll make perfect sense. And Channer has been beat up through his whole life, and he was also, I don't mean physically. And then, when you have money and you come from the spoiled side of the street, I think it's harder. And he couldn't divide his personal and professional, or he did, he could. He did it willingly. But it's a tough deal with Channelot. And he didn't show up again tonight, and he looks a mess, and his thoughts are scattered. But, he has had multiple opportunities to stop, drop, and roll. But if you're not in control of your vehicle, see, he honestly doesn't really remember. Okay, now this Elvis thing, for real. Can you imagine how terrified someone that has mocked any of this would be of someone that blows every supernatural hoax right out of the water? And he sure won't be able to talk about it like he knew it first. Okay, the new Dave, as I call him, is so not Dave. Even Charlie Murphy, Eddie's brother, who was Dave's sidekick, was killed last year. Yes, I do know what you're saying. These doppelgangers, okay? So, imagine they split a zygote. They're fertilized in different mothers in different places, and they're put through different programs. And then, with what's going on right now, and they talked about it in What the Bleep, all the bouncing balls, the one you focus on, because there'll be a whole basketball court full of balls, the one you focus on is the one that becomes reality. Now, let's say that you had more than one reality, and it was because you had kin that was organically manufactured as a tool. I get the vibe that that's what this is about. I saw that in the Sandro story. Sandro's story is fascinating, and I did get a message today that really made me very happy, which is that I shouldn't worry about that he was taken out during that episode down there. I don't want to say the wrong thing, so I'm not going to say it. It was last year in South America. Okay. A word invented, yes, we read that. Sorry, I'm new to your channel. Oh, never be sorry. And thank you, Fifth World. I have a strange beauty, huh? I love seeing what you're doing. Okay, great. The Fifth World says, Elvis died on the day I was born. Wow. But I think a year earlier. Okay, so they spell cast on days, Fifth World. So tag it. If we take, for example, in my story, Rudolf Steiner, they say that he was born on February 27th, but that was his baptismal date. He was born February 25th, and so am I. So, like when Aretha Franklin passed on Elvis' anniversary of his passing, we're not going to say that somebody did something to set Aretha off. It was her natural vibratory time, let's say. I mean, because we don't want to get all conspiratorial. But the whole Elvis thing, Madonna's birthday too, exactly. But the Elvis thing, I'm telling you, I knew even when I was a teenager that there was more than one of them, and I knew that he faked his death and got out. Now, maybe I knew that because I always had dreams and visions as a child, not of him, but of the incoming destruction that I always felt like was imminent. And so imagine if you're somebody like him, exactly. You're somebody like him that comes from a Highlander magical type background that goes back to AD 454. Oh, wow. Our screen froze. We have lost the ability to see different images on the show. The clock's running 35:59. And they're not going to probably give us our picture back, so that kind of sucks. Now, I should be able to get music at least. So let me do that for us. And then we can keep talking. And I can use my screen to go over today's events. Or I can shut the stream down and come back. There's two people in the room. Why don't you guys tell me what you would do if you were me? Because I get what's going on. And I get the energies are big tonight. Um, I don't really think, I mean, like, I don't feel any fear. You know, like last night, they actually did attack my throat, and I did call on the name of Jesus 3 times, and everything was cool. And I'll never deny these ways that I express myself. So, uh, what do you guys think, man? Should I close this one out and come back? Or do we want no ability to see pictures? Because to me, that's boring. Anybody, anybody? Fifth World, what do you say? I mean, I'll be right back. I feel great. I think the attacks are stopping. They're more like activations. I fully agree. Only thing I'm saying is I hope it's not boring. Sometimes I do tend to overwhelm. All right. See, I'd rather try to get my picture back so I can really be interactive. Bless your heart. Thank you. The other person in the room, how do you feel about me shutting down and coming back? My mystery guess. Fifth World's saying yes, and the girls have all, well, the ladies have already decided. And, you know, always remember, this whole thing is about the choice that every entity is now making about whether they choose love, even if they could lose it, over being fearful of love. Because at this time, people are fearful of everything. So, with that, I'll say give me 5 minutes, and I'll look forward to seeing you guys again. Thank you so much.